Hello everybody, how's it going? Really like the reception that my new movie got, but I just want to tell you guys, it's not an absolute win until it gets 60 or more views. I don't want this to end getting views at like 54. Let's get it to like 65 or 72, something like that. If you read the title, today we're going to be ranking all of Kanye's discography. I'm very excited for this. Here's what we will be ranking. We will be ranking College Dropout, Late Registration, Graduation, 808s and Heartbreak, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Watch the Throne, Yeezus, Life of Pablo, Yay, Kids See Ghosts, Jesus is King, and Donda. We will be ranking all 12 of those, I'm pretty sure. So let's get into it. In 12th place, aka last place, I have Jesus is King. I honestly feel like everybody would probably rank this in last place. It's just, come on. Jesus is King is an album that I didn't really like initially. And then I started to be like, oh, this isn't really that bad. This is Kanye's album. He's like, Kanye's worst album, and he's like one of the greatest artists of all time. And he is, but his worst album is definitely his worst album. Jesus is King is just not that good. Here's the thing. My favorite track on this album is On God, but that's a thing. That song is probably the seventh best song on Life of Pablo. It's that type of. It just the highs aren't nearly as high as they are on other albums. I just feel like when it's good, it's just not good enough. I appreciate that Kanye was trying to make a gospel album, but I really appreciate other songs like Heaven and Hell and God Breathe, him trying to make gospel songs into something different. But in this one, it just seems like it's formulaic, and I really don't dig it too much. At number 11, we have Donda. Now, I really do like this album, okay? I don't want people to think I don't. It's a great album. Believe What I Say, Life of the Party, No Child Left Behind, 24, Come to Life, those are my shit. But it's 32 tracks long, and there are a lot of misses. The part 2s are extremely unnecessary. Though I will say something that I think is going to be a little controversial. I love Jay-Z way more to DaBaby. I think everyone can agree with me there. But I gotta say, I feel like DaBaby had a better verse on Jail. I'm just saying. I don't know. The first part of Jail is definitely better, but, DaBaby's verse wasn't bad. I actually really liked it. But other than that, the part 2s are just super unnecessary. And, it just misses a lot of the time, Never Abandon Your Family, and my personal least favorite off of the album, which is Junior, which is so boring, but it's got some underrated tracks too, like Pure Souls, and of course one that should never be slept on, Jonah. I really like that song. But yeah, this album is good, way big of a, really big step up from Jesus is King, and I really like that. But there's too many songs on it, and that's the thing, Jesus Lord, that's one of the that's supposed to be one of the best songs on the album, but that's the thing, I don't really listen to it that much. Whenever it comes up on my playlist, I usually just skip it, because it's 8 minutes long, and there are a few songs that can hold my attention span for that long. At number 10, I have Watch the Throne. Now, I used to think this was the better out of the two collab albums, but I don't think so anymore. While Jay-Z and Kanye are a much better duo than Kid Cudi and Kanye, I do think that the deluxe version of this was just really unnecessary. Prime Time and The Joy are not necessarily bad songs, but let me just say, whenever they come up, I just don't really want to listen to them, and they're just really unneeded. The album as a whole is really good. I do like No Church in the Wild, People in Paris, Otis, Made in America, which is super underrated. Murder to Excellence, really good hype song. And I like thinking of this album as just kind of something to pump people up, So, an album that was made for the NBA. Because, this entire album could be, a soundtrack for an NBA 2K game. I'm being honest. I think it could be. And also, somebody made this really weird comparison, or, analogy, and they were talking about My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and they said, the album that's so good, it needed two Victory Lap albums. And I honestly get what they're saying with that, because Cruel Summer and Watch the Throne are basically Victory Lap albums. But yeah, Watch the Throne is good, but I can totally see why some people don't like it. And let's go on to the next pick, which may piss some people off, but Sorry, but it would have been worse if I rank it. It would have been worse if I ranked it like below Watch the Throne. But I'm just gonna say it. Number 9 goes to Kids See Ghosts. I like this album. Okay, the artwork is fantastic, and I feel like when Cudi and Jay-Z collab, or when Cudi and Kanye collab, there's just much more creativity, and I appreciate that. I mean, Fourth Dimension, Free, Reborn. Reborn is a great track. But that's the thing. The songs don't feel too complete, you know? Like, I could never see myself saying, like, this is top 5 Kanye. I just couldn't do that. Because while there aren't any misses on this album, it's kind of hard not to have misses. But I will say something. Don't really like Cudi Montage that much. I don't come back to that track as much. I just feel like there are a lot of songs that are exciting, but they just could be a lot longer, and I always want more. But I feel like for Reborn, though, Reborn is just a fantastic song. There's nothing bad about it. It's just perfect. But Kids See Ghosts just, it's one of the few times on, like, a short album where I actually want more songs, because I just, like, either more songs or make the songs that are on the album a lot longer, because they just didn't feel too finished. Feel the Love is a great track. I can't believe I didn't bring that up already. Feel the Love is good. And Free, although I mentioned it as one of my favorites, it's, never mind. It's not really. It's a good song, but when Kanye says, Free, like, it's just really annoying. And the first part of Ghost Town is obviously way better. So, it's an okay album. Let's just move on to the next one. At number 8, I have another take that's going to piss some people off. Graduation. I really hated it when Kanye was causing controversy and everyone was saying he made Graduation. How about he made MBDTF, not Graduation, okay? We're not going to do that. And we're not just going to pretend that Big Brother, Drunken Hot Girls, and Barry Bonds aren't songs, okay? Because they are. They're on that album. It's very apparent. And if you're a fan of Graduation, then somehow you have to be a fan of those 3 songs. And I truly don't know how that is possible. I get it. There are a lot of great songs on this album, but I feel like I've listened to Can't Tell Me Nothing a lot. You know, it's a good Kanye song, but if it came on right now, I'd just skip it because I've heard it way too many times. The songs I do like, though, The Glory is super underrated. Everyone should hear that. Flashing Lights, obviously amazing. One of my first favorite Kanye songs. What else? I Wonder, probably my favorite track on that album. Homecoming, I feel like everyone likes that song, and myself included. And also, one of the most underrated tracks on the album, Everything I Am. I really like that song a lot. Like, that song is just so good. I love the piano, I love the sample. It's so underrated. And knowing that it's underrated makes me like the song a lot more. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's just what I think. All in all, Graduation, not a perfect album, okay? By no means. Big Brother, Drunken Hot Girls, Barry Bonds. Just remember that. But I gotta say, I think one of Kanye's biggest mistakes was, like, why wasn't Good Night the real ending to Graduation? I'm just saying, like, Good Night's a way better way to end the album than freaking Big Brother. Like, what are you doing, man? Good Night is a good song, though. I wasn't sure if I liked it the first time I heard it, but the chorus is pretty infectious, so I really do appreciate it. At number 7, I have Yay. I'm not going to apologize. This album is so good. It's Kanye at one of his most personal states. And that's the thing. It did it better than Kids See Ghosts. Because it's not like all of the tracks on this album are just 2 minutes. Because with Kids See Ghosts, there were like 2 tracks that were, maybe 3, that were over 2 minutes. The rest were just 2 minutes. This one, there are few amounts of songs that are really short. Let's go over the track list. Since it's only 7 tracks long, I can talk about all of them. Starting off with I Thought About Killing You, which is one of Kanye's most personal tracks. Wasn't sure if I liked it the first time I listened to it, but I do like it. Except the outro is just so unneeded. The song works as more of like a shocking glimpse into like what Kanye's state is in, you know? And I really didn't like that they like made a beat at the end. Like, this is supposed to be a sad song. And the instrumental that was going like at the beginning was really interesting and really like addictive, but I don't know why they had to switch it up. Either way though, Yay is a fantastic album. And then after that, you have Yikes. Really, really good song. Has a great beat. I love it when he says that he turned TMZ into Smack DVD. Um, what else? All Mine. Controversial take. I actually like this song. And I don't know why some people don't. It's just a braggadocious Kanye song. Like, we all know that happens a lot. I know he's talking like an asshole in this, but I still really like it personally. And the chorus is very infectious. Wouldn't Leave is probably the only track on this album that I would say isn't great, you know? I'm not saying it's bad. Like, it's good enough for me to add it to my playlist, but it's okay. I like the message it's going for, but hearing this after All Mine is just a little like, I don't know. And then after that, he goes on one of the best 3-track streaks ever. We got No Mistakes, which is short, but the chorus is so infectious, and Kanye's verse is really personal and nice. I like the Drake diss, so I'm going to give it up to him. Really, really, really good song. One of my favorite on the album. Ghost Town, which is probably my favorite Kanye West song ever. I don't know. If it's not number 1, it's easily number 2 or 3. Because this song is just so good. I've loved it for the longest time. I really, really, really love it. And then after that, to end the album, Violent Crime, super personal, really great song. It's just fantastic. I really like it. Yay is so good, and with it being 7 tracks long, Kanye doesn't have to make songs that are too personal and end up kind of falling on her face. That never happens once. It's all pretty great, and I love this Wyoming area of Kanye. I said area instead of era. I'm twisting my words. Sorry about that. But Yay, the point is, it's a great album. I got a poster of it in my room. Probably 9 out of 10. I really like this one. At number 6, I have The College Dropout. Really good album. I don't like that there are so many skits, but I guess that helps in the story. Graduation Day and Intro are both really good skits, and I like how it starts the album off like that. But a little too many skits on this, and at the end it's extremely apparent. But I do like this album, man. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. It is so good. Through the Wire, Family Business, 2 Words, Last Call, Jesus Walks, All Falls Down, Spaceship, Slow Jams, like, come on. And also a track that I liked the first time I heard it, started not to like that much, but then I liked again, Never Let Me Down. Really good track, actually. And I kind of like the preacher on it, you know? I used to think that was the worst part of the song, but it's not that bad. Point is, College Dropout is a fantastic album, and it ends with Through the Wire, Family Business, and Last Call, which is just fantastic. But a lot of skits, and that's why it's in number 6. At number 5, I have Yeezus. This album is good, and I'm sick of everybody saying it isn't. It is one of the best eras of Kanye ever. I love this album, okay? New Slaves, Bound to, Black Skinhead, On Sight, Blood on the Leaves, Guilt Trip, Send It Up, and another track that I totally forgot I was saying on the same album. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I really like that it's only 10 tracks long. I'm just saying. I really do. Because if there were more tracks on it, then I just think it would fall short. Okay, here we go. Here's what I think. One skip, and that is I Am a God. It's a little too braggadocious for my nature, but it is by no means a bad song. It's not great. It's the only song that I just don't really listen to that much in Kanye's discography. It's not really replayable because, well, it's screaming he does, and I think a lot of people agree with me. Guilt Trip is really underrated. I love Kid Cudi on that one. The ending of New Slaves with Frank Ocean is just fantastic. And Send It Up is very underrated. I don't know why that song doesn't get more credit. This album is just fantastic, okay? We have to admit it. Yeezus is great. Bound to, easily best track on the album. And that's not saying the vibe of the album is bad, but Bound to just knocked it out of the park. I'm just saying. And I like the story it follows. You know, you could do like a 5-hour essay on this album, and I still wouldn't understand it at all. But that's what's great about it. At number 4, I have Late Registration. Does it make sense that Late Registration is my favorite in the college trilogy? No. It makes no sense. It should be Graduation or College Dropout. But for some reason, for me, it's not. I like to be different. Late Registration is great, and I didn't used to think it was that great because of all the skits. That's the thing. I'm willing to get over it because there's so many great tracks on this. Because with College Dropout, it has a lot of top 10 Kanye. But I'm just saying there were some skips on that album. With this album, there's barely any skips. I mean, you got Late, We Major, Gold Digger, Heard 'Em Say, Drive Slow, Addiction, Crack Music, and Gone all on the same album. It's insane. And the Diamonds from Sierra Leone remix. That's a great track too. My point is just that I go to this album whenever I feel like listening to some deep cuts. Like Drive Slow, super underrated song of Kanye's. I know it's more of a chill and not gonna change your world type song, but it's a good song. I really like it. I love the saxophones too. The jazz on this album, unmatched. I love it. But yeah, Late Registration is really underrated, and I hope a lot of people. I know there are a few people that probably think it's the best out of the three, but that's just me. I don't know. I really like it. At number 3, we have The Life of Pablo. I love this album so much, and I actually understand it because the album cover, while at first at first sight, it might seem like a badly edited, like, just weird cover, it really makes sense in the context of the album. Because on one side, there's his family, and how he wants to be like a good Christian and like go to church. And on the other side is some booty, which means that he wants to embrace the celebrity lifestyle and just be crazy. But I love that theme of the album. It's super apparent, and it just gives Kanye some time to be like so creative. You got Saint Pablo, Father Stretch My Hands, Waves, No More Parties in LA, 30 Hours on the same album. It's so good. FML is also great. I really like it, and even though it's really long, I feel like it makes sense for this type of album, so I'm not going to complain about that. Either way, this album is so good, and No More Parties in LA, that's probably like my third favorite Kanye song. I've listed it in like an unthinkable amount of times. It's so good. Like, it has some of Kanye's best, it's probably my favorite Kanye verse of all time, and when you're able to out-rap Kendrick on your song, like, that's tough, okay? Kendrick is probably one of the greatest rappers of all time. And Kanye is probably my favorite artist of all time, but he's nowhere near a better rapper than Kendrick. And I was so surprised that Kanye did a better job than him on that song. But he did, and that's easily one of the best tracks on the album. At the number 2 spot, I have 808s and Heartbreak. So underrated. I love this album, and that's the thing. When I think of Kanye, that's the thing. You think of College Dropout and that kind of stuff. But I don't like listening to College Dropout as much because it's so overplayed and stuff. But 808s and Heartbreak, there are some really, really good tracks on this. Like, everybody loves Streetlights, but it's not his most popular song. So I listen to that, like, all the time. I literally covered that song on my last album. Streetlights, best song on the album, no question. I love it so much. And Paranoid's on this album, so it's crazy. Paranoid's number 2, which I never thought I'd say, because Paranoid is fantastic, and I was obsessed with this track the first time I heard it. But Streetlights is just so good, and it perfectly describes the vibe and meaning of this album. Pinocchio Story, I don't think it's the best track of the album, but I think it's a good way to end the album, and it ends up more of on a somber note, because Kanye's just not in the best state at this point. Let's see, you also got Welcome to Heartbreak, which is good. Not Kid Cudi and Kanye's best collab, but I still like it. RoboCop, which I listened to like an uncomfortable amount of times. Heartless, a classic song. Everybody loves it. Say You Will, outro goes on for like a very long time, but I still really like it. And I mean, the instrumental is pretty great, so why not drag it on for like 3 more minutes? I mean, it kind of deserves it. The one song on this album that I don't really like too much is See You in My Nightmares. I'm sorry, I can't get jiggy with it. I don't really like it as much anymore. And that's because Lil Wayne's verse is just a little, like, out of place. I just feel like, I don't know, it just could have put Cudi on this one, honestly. But I will say a song that I have come to like a lot more is Coldest Winter. That is actually a really good song, super emotional, and I don't know why I didn't like it before. It's really catchy and infectious, and I love it. But yeah, 808s and Heartbreak is a 10. I love this album, and it's kind of like a love it or hate it album. But I just don't like it that when I see people rank his albums, they usually put this in like second to last place. I'm like, why? This album is so good. Anyway, great album. And at number one, what else would it be but my beautiful, dark, twisted fantasy? So good. So good. Runaway, Power, Blame Game, Lost in the World, Gorgeous, All of the Lights, Dark Fantasy, and Hell of a Life, all on the same album. And Devil in a New Dress. Fantastic. The only song I don't like as much as the rest is So Appalled, but that song is still good and Jay-Z's on it, so how bad can it be? This album is a 10 out of 10. It's literally one of my favorite albums of all time, and I don't know why people like say no it's not, like it's so overrated. Don't call it overrated. I see more people saying it's overrated than people saying it's his best album. I'm not even joking, because when somebody brings this up they always just be like it's overrated, and I'm like, no it's not. Like, if anything, it's underrated. It needs to be ranked number one on everyone's ranking. It's just that good. Runaway is probably his best song. I want to be that guy who puts like Drunken Hot Girls at number one to be different, but I'm not. Drunken Hot Girls is one of his worst songs, and Runaway is definitely his best. And God, I want to be different so bad, but I have to admit, Runaway is so good. And I really like the short film too. I've seen it before. It's really good. I guess that's all I have to say. MBDTF is a really, really, really good album, and in the context of what was going on with Kanye at this point, it makes it so much more satisfying to listen to. And I love all the artists that are on here. I'm going to just name off a few. Bon Iver, Rihanna, Nicki Minaj, Drake, Charlie Wilson, Jay-Z, Kid Cudi, Alicia Keys, Elton John. That's just to name a few. I mean, I'm sure there were like 500 other people there too, but that's a pretty good lineup, I gotta say. Oh, and John Legend. I don't know why I added him on. But either way, that's my ranking. MBDTF is interchangeable. It'll probably always be number one. And yeah. Peace.